Okay, start with the pledge. Okay, welcome. Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to the June 2nd, 2025 general meeting of the Southampton Town Trustees. I will ask Secretary Treasurer Warner to
Make sure everybody has their mics on, please.
start with the roll
Okay. Scott Horowitz,
here.
Ed Warner here, Chip Marin,
Here.
Joe McLaughlin,
Here.
Matt Parsons.
Present.
All here, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to everybody on Zoom. Just for everyone's information, our next meeting will be June 16th. The work session will start at 10:30. Worked a lot better starting at 10:30, traffic-wise, for everybody. Followed by our regular meeting at 1 o'clock on June 16th. Going to get started with the public hearings. They're both going to be open at the same time,
That's correct, yes.
right?
Do we have all the
Um,
postings and everything?
You have,
I'll make the motion.
Oh, wait, Joe, do we have all the proper documentation?
We have proof of mailings and some return receipts, so I'd say we're in good shape.
okay,
I'll make the motion. Mr. Horowitz?
okay.
Second.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so let's open up, that's for number one, and let's also open up number two.
Make the motion.
Trustee McLaughlin made the motion, seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so both public hearings are open. Just a little housekeeping, we'll try and keep your comments directed to the board. We'll give everybody an opportunity to speak and say what they have to say. When it gets to the public part, we'll manage that 3 minutes at a time. Who wants to go first? Okay, Mr. Bennett?
It might make sense to have Mr. Tuchernian up here as well, since you're opening up for both, and Kate Rummel.
That's fine,
If that's okay with you
that's
folks.
fine. I should know if you didn't have an opening statement you wanted to
No, I think.
make a declaration of sorts here.
No, we, actually, I hope that everyone will be very happy.
Me too.
Mr. Tuchernian and I, as well as Ms. Rummel, have worked out
Everybody just
something-
identify themselves at the
Oh,
dais
yeah,
for the
sure.
record, please,
I apologize.
and who they represent.
Kate Rummel, Cole Environmental, on behalf of Daisy McFadden, 7 Norton.
And John Bennett, Bennett and Reed, 212 Windmill Lane, Southampton, New York, for Ms. McFadden.
Aram Tertunian, First Coastal, West Hampton Beach, New York, on behalf of the Alex.
So, and Aaron will jump in and tell me whether or not I'm saying anything that's inaccurate. But I think we had, and maybe if you have, I don't want to, it's actually based upon something that you sent to us, Aaron, so I thought maybe if you wanted to just put it down in front of everybody. One of the issues here is that, you have these relatively small waterfront parcels. So naturally, it takes a little bit of thinking out of the box to get to where each one of the 175 Town and 7 Norton can have a dock. And I do want to say what started out as rather contentious and difficult, I think has come to a point where, at least from our point of view, and based upon some ideas that Aram has come up with, we have a potential for both parties to be able to have docks. And what it does is, Aram, is this a little bit different than what you shared before?
No, it's the same.
Okay, so maybe the best thing to do, what Aram has done, maybe I'll let you explain the sort of triangulation that allows you to come up with something that will give a right to wharf out to navigability for both 175 and for 7 Norton.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, John.
Oh, yeah, it is pretty much the same. Yeah.
So the What we did here, because the situation is as John described, is we went back to the round pie link method of allocating navigation rights. This is something that I originally found in an Office of General Services presentation from New York State, and apparently this is the way that the state does it and has been upheld in a case that I shared with
Right,
counsel.
but that's just to correct you though, it's one of many methods which
Yes.
can be used.
Yes,
It's not the
yes.
sole method, so.
Now, there's at least half a dozen.
Right.
So, they depend on the configuration of the water body. In this case, the round pie method was the one that seemed
The
most
same
suitable.
orientation as
Yes.
this.
I knew we were getting pie somewhere along the way today.
And so, in order to execute this method, what we do is we find the center of, in this case, the curved embayment, and then we extend the property lines to that point. And that's what we've done on the aerial photo that's in front of you. And what that does is allocates a accessibility for each of the properties, and is a very it's a nice method of proceeding because it's equitable and it's simple, which is also really.
So I get two gentlemen both agreeing we have equitability here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this works. The only, I think the only potential issue, but I don't think it really should be an issue, is the proximity of 7 Norton Place to 11 Norton Place. But 11 Norton Place has this, relative to the area, a significantly wide,
Frontage.
excuse me?
Frontage.
Number one, and I'm gonna be very quick to remind everybody that we're asking, regardless of what this person says, if they have a thought on it, we're asking to put these structures and improvements on property that you own.
Correct.
And in an ideal, this is one of those situations where your, I still call it your blue book, is like zoning in a way that it's set up. If everybody had a rectangular or square piece of property and they all had the same frontage, it works, and it works oftentimes for most parcels. But here you have a situation where there's a little creativity is involved. The methodology is sound, and no one's rights to wharf out to navigability are being negatively impacted. And so we've been able to come 175 Town and 7 Norton Place, which started out like super contentious, and I'm really gonna, this is gonna sound strange, but I'm really gonna give a little kudos to Mr. Chichernian and myself, because we were able to calm it down, and Aram and I were able, mostly through Aram's concept here, able to find a way that works for everybody.
I was hoping to see fisticuffs between you two, but,
That
you know.
I was hoping for the pie myself.
We're hoping for like throwing the pie?
No, we've had these pie discussions before.
I think the nice thing about it is that it works. Kate, if you could
A neighbor.
chat a little bit about what this does for your application. Just remember, there's no floating section here, so that the fear of any floater sections sitting on the bottom of the bay is not here. But anyway, could you, Kate,
Why don't you expand on that?
For the record, I'd like you to explain the application that we have on year 5, and then Mr. Chunian can do 75 for his application. So we know what we're talking about as far as docks and is being proposed to the board, and the public can know too.
Right. So our original proposal was, a lengthy dock, roughly 64 feet, extending outward from the bulkhead. That was to achieve or to access the deepest water possible. We do have accessibility issues that we need to be mindful of. So we were trying to get the deepest water at low tide. Obviously, we've discussed this with the clients or the property owners, and, they are amenable to Aram's proposal that's basically, keeping parallel to the southwest property line. We do just want to state for the record that we are proposing a 5-foot wide fixed pier as per what the DEC allows for accessibility. And I would like to see if the board would be amenable to a kayak lift for ease of accessibility as well.
Now, one of the inhabitants, Remy, McFadden, is here. She has given me more than adequate documentation to show her disability. She can answer questions for you. With your permission, I would like just to be able to represent to you. I mean, if you want the documentation, we'll give it to you. I just, as I was going through it, it's pretty extensive diagnostic stuff about her disability, and it's.
It's what we had on record the last time.
Yeah, I mean, it's private stuff. So, but
I don't think we need to
Yeah,
go
I
into,
mean,
I don't think we need to go into
We had a
private
discussion of a
conditions.
5-foot wide belt dock because of a health impairment. And we can leave it at that.
But I will represent to you as a officer of the court that this certainly meets the.
Right, and we can handle permitting from a specifics perspective relative to, so let's just
I
leave it there.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate
I guess also to piggyback on that, there would be railings on both sides.
May I ask a question? We received a communication on Friday from the Acker property, 185 Todd Point, a letter from their attorney, David McMaster.
Yes.
Okay. And he's objecting to the placement, and I don't believe you've seen the letter because we only got
I
it
assume
Friday.
he's objecting to the placement of
So,
the
hold on,
original
hold on,
proposal.
hold on, just hang on, let's just run this meeting a certain way here, please.
Run it the way you want it.
Yeah, thank you, I got the gap.
Get your hammer,
Right,
get your
let's-
hammer ready.
Thank you, just hold on, you'll get your opportunity when we get to that. So let's finish up with this, and then everybody's gonna get an opportunity to speak, that way we can go through this methodically.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I did want to note, since you gave the address, it's 2 lots away.
But in any event.
All right, so let's finish up with the applicants.
It's on our.
Yes.
I get it. Let's finish up with what these plans are with the applicants. Then we'll let everybody that's here want to be heard. That's fine. You're gonna get your shot. Don't worry.
So what additional, I mean, information would you provide the trustees in terms of the permitting aspect, Kate?
Well, I'm just asking if the board would be amenable to a kayak lift for accessibility.
What is this? You have a picture of what this looks like?
I do not, but I can
We need
provide one.
we need some kind of engineered plans in order to
See
make a
what it is
determination.
that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before we even can address it.
I guess the question is, obviously, what we'd like to have at least at the end of this meeting, if possible, is a sense of the board as to whether or not this orientation, since it does provide for everybody's, getting out to water, is something that would be acceptable.
I just took a little bit of a change on that with Aram. I squared off the property lines a little bit more to make more of a centralized pie. That I believe it doesn't alter much, but it seems like it makes it a little bit
Less,
gives room to problematic.
would it shift 7 Norton Place's dock or keep it in the same place?
I think it actually would make it look like it's more of a central
More of a central.
more of a central location
in that location.
because I squared off the property lines on the 2 properties, whereas the pie that was provided with us wasn't exactly square. But I mean,
I think that actually helps our position. Is that fair to say? Yeah.
it just seems.
Yeah, I think it's a nice refinement.
But again, what I like about this is that you have something that was very contentious being cooperative now, and not, at first I was, when either council or chair said, go work this out, I was like, that's going to happen, but it turned out to be good advice, so.
And how long is well, you don't know how long the proposed dock is because you're going to reconfigure it?
Well, so roughly what you proposed, I just, I put on the sounding, so it's roughly 40 feet.
Yeah. So I think, 40 feet is the maximum in your blue book for this body of water. So what's shown on the illustration is the maximum amount that this board would permit. just as far as our application at 175 is much less than the maximum. Ours is merely 4 by 19 feet. So it's literally less than half of what they would be entitled to, but it gets them what they need, and if they happen to need more in the future, they can come back to this board.
Sometimes
Ed
less.
and I know this creek really well. That is the navigable water along that shoreline. So we do have to make sure we don't go too far into allowing.
Yes.
We have to make sure everybody in that creek has access and egress.
Absolutely. That's what,
That's the
what your
point.
job
That's
is.
the point.
That's what
That's
your
the
job
point of the
is.
whole exercise. All right, so
And we're also, the existing dock is, well, the reconstructed dock will be 10 feet off the extended property line, so it's going to meet that criteria as
test.
well.
What you're thinking on the 40, explain to the board.
Well, the 40 is roughly what Aaron proposed, but yes, it's also the limit of what's allowed by
Okay,
local
and,
regulations.
and let-
Davis Creek.
I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit, because this is where we should talk about these things, but is there something about the 40 that you find would be beneficial to the benthic health of the bay bottom there, or is, are you getting past a certain point, are you getting past some certain vegetation or something like
what's the
that?
rationale?
What's the rationale for the 40?
For the 40, well, it's extending, I mean, we want to access the deepest water possible just to make the entry in and, out of the kayak as easy as possible.
Can you
So
get into,
it's-
what's the depth? I don't see it on the,
It's,
have whatever.
what are you looking at? So we don't have that. We need to, what is the depth? Just tell me what it is. What do you?
it's 0.8, 0.8, negative 0.8.
Why don't you
Roughly.
hand that up to the
That's the
chairman?
farthest.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about the easiest way to get to a kayak is what you're saying. So you don't need a huge amount of water, but you need the most that you
But
can
that
get.
Yes,
angle,
specifically for,
that angle is different than what Aaron's newly proposed, correct?
correct.
So that would
Based
be
on what
amended?
you,
Yeah.
yes, so based on what you drew, it would be slightly different. This is originally what Aaron
Yeah.
proposed. That's just been superimposed.
Okay, so 40 feet, but we're still not talking about a very, very lengthy.
No, and it doesn't come into anyone's
Understand.
viewscape, which I think were some of the concerns of, of the neighbors.
Okay,
Um,
so what else do you have to add before I let people from the public and the other?
I think
I
we've got to talk to
If
another
I could
neighbor.
just, sorry,
So,
add one more thing, just based on, my client's, request, if your client would be open to some revegetation of the marsh.
That area is pretty dense with Spartina right now.
Cause I know that there has been like the float that has.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair for the, we'll leave any required revegetation, if any, up to the discretion of the board.
I think the re-bulkheading, the restructuring of that bulkheading and having a fixed structure that people access the water by is gonna help the Spartina take root.
Yeah, in this
Water
area, it'll
on
grow
its
by
own.
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd leave any condition like that up to you.
Whose land are you talking about? On your client's land?
No, my client
On our land.
wanted,
No,
To be very clear.
that's.
she has a healthy marsh.
Please, that's gonna be up to this board.
Okay.
And that was not discussed with Mr. Attorney.
Right.
And I feel it inappropriate, very candid with you, to bring that up at this point, because we've had a very cooperative look at this, and if the board feels that's necessary, that's fine, but I don't think it's fair for us to.
And
ask
this
for that as
fall
a-
has
a
to go
condition.
through other regulatory authorities. We have to go through Army Corps and we have to
Well,
go to the state.
That's their
Yes,
issue.
that's-
We're
yeah.
the
They have to do-
landowners, so
Yeah.
it's gonna start with us to make a decision what we're gonna allow on our lands, and then the other regulatory authorities can put whatever conditions that they want on there.
Agreed upon.
That's up to them, right?
Agreed upon.
The float that's currently here is going, there's no permit for that, correct?
That's being.
That's going away. That's not even
Making
a
sure.
consideration. You have something you want to add to this before I let some other folks speak, and then we can go on from there? I just wanna.
Okay.
Mr. Lombardo? you still
No,
listening?
I believe the objectors are sitting in the audience.
I get that, I wanna get to that.
Yeah, no, so I have, these two parties have duked it out and figured out what they want to do, and
I
I think it's open to comment.
I
I
just,
think it's been very amicable. I kind of like that tone.
Okay. right, let's,
On the
Let's
black
let
eye
that-
healed
let's-
nicely, I have to say.
all right. All right, that's it. Okay. Now, we're gonna go 3 minutes, or please try and keep it brief. Mr. Hume, I see you got your hand up, and then I know after that, this other gentleman.
Sure. James N. Hume, 323 Mill Road, West Hampton Beach. I'm here on behalf of the owners of 175. I'm with Mr. Tertunian. We are quite encouraged by the change of events, but I have to be a lawyer for a minute and indicate that we haven't actually seen anything on a piece of paper. So on behalf of my clients, I just wanted to, although we are very encouraged and very hopeful about this, I obviously reserve our rights to actually see the plan that they put before this board, so that we know exactly what
This public hearing, I don't anticipate closing today.
Okay.
Okay, so there's gonna be ample time to really get this correct, all right? So,
Very
is
good.
there anything more that you want to
Nope,
add?
that was it.
Okay, thank you very much, this gentleman here.
David McMaster, 176 North Sea Road, Southampton, New York. I'm here for Karen Acker and Glenn Castle, the owners of 185 Tow Point Road. I will say that when I wrote the letter that I submitted on Friday, I hadn't seen the most recent plans, so I would share in the sentiments of Mr. Hume that we're encouraged by the placement of the dock compared to the plans we saw before. However, I would ask if there was a way to potentially make the length of the dock less than the maximum. My clients would appreciate that, and also share in the desire to review plans and request information about the kayak lift. Is it motorized? What are the noise output of that? And we would suggest that the lift be on the east side of the dock, away from my client's property. And again, just that a 40-foot dock is relatively not in keeping with the surrounding properties and environments. And that's all I have to say at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to address the board? Anybody else? A lot of people here.
Yes.
Okay. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, trustees. Thanks for the opportunity. I do have to say this was very important for my husband and I. We were traveling down in South Carolina.
Can you identify yourself,
Oh,
please?
Karen Acker, owner of 185 Town Point Road.
Thank you.
And my husband and I, Glenn, and I just came back from visiting our daughter down in South Carolina to come to this event. We were supposed to head to see our son in Florida because this is really important to us. We are encouraged by the new proposal and thank Mike and Sally for engaging Coastal to put this together. And we thank you guys for putting together this public hearing for us. It was not only an important thing from a view standpoint, and I took a
You
picture of
gotta stay behind the mic there.
It was not only important for a view standpoint and the fact that it went across our sight line, but I took a picture to give you that sense, which we thought would really affect our property value, and the danger, because getting to our property directly with our kayaks, swimming with friends and family, and just the public, the community, I thought was very dangerous. So the extension of going out as far as possible or to the maximum is a concern, and we just think it should be considered. I thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I have a question.
This is, we'll see if we can answer it, but we generally don't.
Alex, and I've been called contentious. I don't feel I am. And I've known Remy and paddled and water started and windsurfed with her, and I'm aware of her balance issues and concerns. I'm wondering simply as someone who's taught kayaking and canoeing, why you wouldn't want to have the boat in 1 foot of water and step into it. If I'm trying to safely get someone who's got a challenge into the boat. And this is separate from them having a dock, but and I think the kayak lift is going to be needed somewhere because I'm having to get the kayak down. But why you wouldn't, right by the shore, simply have the boat.
You gotta stay behind the mic.
Mike, please.
Have the boat to make it, I think the safest way, if I was putting, an elderly person, a disabled person into a boat, I would think that you'd want them in a much shallower situation. So this expression, getting to the navigable waterway, I don't understand what the good idea is there. You got it?
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Thank you. We appreciate that. Yes, you want to come up here and get some say on the subject?
Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Stetton. I live at 257 Town Point Road, which is just a little further west than these properties that we've been talking about. I just had a question. When docks like this are proposed, how can the people in the immediate community find out about it? Because I found out about it from word of mouth. And it's a very small community, very small parcels, as this gentleman pointed out earlier. And I would like to know what's happening in this little body of water that I live on. And there's really, as far as I know, not a way for me to publicly find out about it. We weren't notified in the community. So how is that information?
You have to watch the trustees' agendas. We're the landowners for the freeholders in commonality, and our agendas are published online. And you can see that. And if there's an application on there that you think you're interested in, then you're obviously you're welcome to join
Okay.
us.
But
We
there's
do not hold public hearings for every single dock application.
I see.
It's just,
And there's no policy in place where a neighbor has to notify neighbors when they're planning to do something like this.
No, I mean, it's just like a neighbor applying for a building permit with the downstairs with land management. You don't get a public hearing every time they apply to put up a garage or something. So unless it is something that would require a variance from permissible activity.
Understood.
That's-
But if
you
you
can
have,
watch the agendas though, and if there's something that's of interest to you, then you're welcome to come to our public meeting.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for all your work that you do. Appreciate it. I'm new to the community, so I'm learning as I go.
if you have an
Thank
application that's before the Army Corps, the adjoining property owners are notified. We do not go through that unless we're having a public hearing like
We're
this.
dealing with our jurisdiction, as I pointed out earlier. The other regulatory authorities are responsible to deal with theirs, so, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If I just may
Sure.
point out that, and not that that speaker doesn't have the right to speak, but the speaker's house address is approximately 11 to 12 lots away.
But he still has a
But he
right.
still has navigable water that he's.
I understand, but
And
it's important to point that out. That's all.
And I
Whatever
appreciate
is fine.
that, and I appreciate everybody coming here and their comments, and the public hearing's not closing today, so the board will have the ability to listen to everybody's thoughts and feelings, read their letters, and then make a decision, a good decision with good information.
It's towards the bridge, though, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, but everybody's welcome to.
Also like to place just before everybody for the record that, again, this is a situation where we have a person that's going to need reasonable accommodations whenever possible, and we don't have to adhere to the strict letter of the Blue Book in order to reach a reasonable accommodation.
That's my comment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Council.
And that's why we're here. And we're trying to work through this as sensibly and reasonably, amicably as possible. Okay, public, anybody else here that has anything that they want to get on the record officially at the public hearing today? I'll ask the same question on Zoom. Is anybody that wants to speak on this public hearing, put your hand up, please, if you're on Zoom.
No one on Zoom.
Nobody who's got their hand up.
Please come to
You
the
gotta come back
podium.
up here, but. And public hearings are generally for comments, so the board can make a decision. It's not generally for this, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Just, are the new plans going to be submitted prior to the close of the public hearing?
They have to be.
If you send me an email, I'll make sure that I get them to you directly. You won't have to ask the board.
It all has to be, this is all for the purposes of us all getting information, because the board has to make a decision. We need good information, and that's why we're not closing this. This is staying open so we can all
You may
figure.
want to just keep in contact with John Bennett or with Jim Hume or with Aram and,
What was noticed to my clients for this public hearing is not what was in front of us today, so that's the only reason I asked.
Yeah, well, the work, these are generally, they're a work in progress, all of this stuff, and that's why we have this forum to do that,
you don't know the adjourn date for the continuation before you leave the room.
Thank you, John.
All right. So I would assume that everybody that wanted to be heard on a public hearing today has been heard. And I think that what we can do is set that date, Joe, for when we're going to reconvene here. How much time does everybody need to really tighten up what it is that they need?
If I may offer, my assignment, I believe, is to refine our pie chart, which I will have done before the end of the week and forward it to all parties.
So why don't we, somewhere between a month and 6 weeks, I would think.
Yeah, I would say that's sensible, a month and 6
That way we
weeks.
could circulate
We
all
only
the
have one meeting
information.
in July, so that
Yeah.
would,
What's
Yeah.
the meeting in July?
Uh,
I don't know.
What is it, Lisa?
I'm sorry,
The meeting in July?
July is, there's only one meeting in July, and it is, hold on one second.
That would probably be the target meeting.
Yeah, I need time for our draftsman to.
Aaron?
July
you'll-
14th.
So
July
14th,
14th,
contact
Bastille
with Mr.
Day.
McMaster and
Great.
keep him in that loop. Appreciate it.
I think that's fine. I think our draftsman can.
If I could push, we could push it to August. I'd rather you tell me now.
Well,
No, we'll give him.
If we can get a global,
No,
July
July.
14th?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hold on, that's wrong. Hold on, they're checking for me.
Yes,
Would that be on a public session again?
yes. Be a public hearing.
July 14th.
It was the 14th, right? It is the 14th. You were good. It's the 14th.
Who was questioning? We were questioning? You were questioning?
She questioned it. She said it, and then she questioned. She said, "Wait, hold on."
Are we
We
going
checked
to,
you.
because I don't want to rush this. This is important.
July 14th.
Well,
He has
it's
a
up to you.
list.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Right at the bottom.
Okay.
But, very specific with the lift and length, and method of construction, like you were, you can do that?
Yes,
Okay.
not my first rodeo.
But not on July 13th. I want to
Because
get
I
it
wanna
to
give
everybody. well in
and
advance.
anyone in the public
That's
that's
a-
interested, I want to make sure that they have information.
Well, that's a very good question. How
like that.
long do you think this is all going to take you?
It'll be fine.
No. July 14th, I'm not going to circulate it to everybody 2 days before.
Correct.
You have to, how much time do you
what's
need?
the
I think
first-
what she's saying is she has ample time to get it 2 weeks
What's-
out prior to the meeting.
What's the first meeting in August?
Yes, that's fine.
Oh,
We can,
perfect.
4 weeks is fine.
4 weeks is fine. So 2 weeks, she can do it so that everybody
you got
gets 2
6
weeks.
weeks now for the hearing, so you're good.
This application, can you put a doc on there with AI or whatever you want to call it, with the kayak, the lift,
August
so I can
4th.
see visually what we're going to be looking at?
Whatever,
Is there any way that-
whatever technical specifications for the lift will be helpful for the neighbors as well.
Because August 4th would be the date after that. So,
2 weeks before July 14th, we'll have it to everybody.
okay.
I'm prompt, right? We're going to be fit. Fine.
But I think it would be important that we have perception of what we're going to be looking at, or the neighbors are going to be looking at.
Because I personally, like right now, you have all this stuff. I think everything should be up on the screen so the public can see, the Zoom people can see, everyone can see.
As well, so that
Yes.
people can, that's important too.
Right,
Is that
so-
going to be an
so-
issue? Okay, great.
Because I'll push it to the 4th of August if you need that time.
We're good.
I'm not trying to.
Let's set it for July.
Okay, so I'll adjourn this till the 14th of July.
Second.
Second, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, public, for participating. 14th of July. Okay.
Inspector Lisa, please.
Nice cards.
So I can have it on the
It's
screen.
outdated already, but yeah.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Thanks for.
Thank you.
We'll work on it. I want to get it right.
Let's go to public portion.
Doing the work, right? No, I think everyone's doing work too.
Is anybody on Zoom that wants to address the board? Put your hands up, please.
No one on Zoom.
3 minutes.
No one on Zoom.
Okay, so no one on Zoom has their hand up. Folks, we have to get on with our meeting. You guys can talk in the hallway. That would be great. Okay. All right, so there's nobody here in the public that wants to address the board on any other items, so I'll make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
Second, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Let's go to the applications.
All right. Trustee Resolution 2025-164, first renewal application of Coal Mountain LLC, 16 Sonningham Lane, Shinnecock Hills, Suffolk County, Tax Map 900-271-1-48.3, body of water Shinnecock Bay. We had approved this previously. I'd like to get a second on it.
Second that. that?
Oh, Parsons.
Seconded trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Thank you. Trustee resolution 2025-165, renewal application, the second one for 27 Nautilus Drive LLC, 27 Nautilus Drive, Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-322-3-17, body of water, Wells's Creek. This has been previously approved. I'd like to get it approved again. I need a second on it.
Seconded trustee Parsons, all in favor?
2025-166, application of Salvatore Ingardia, 10 Ingardia, 10 Canal Way, Hampton Bays, 900, 322-2 body of water is the tax map. Body of water would be Smith's Creek. We worked on this on the work session. I believe it's Blue Book compliant, so I recommend its approval. I need a second.
I'll second that.
Seconded trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Aye.
That's resolution 173. This is application of the Southampton, Village of Southampton for we just discussed today for Taylor Creek, I believe. Just to clarify that we don't have stamp plans, but stamp plans will be in the file by the end of today, if not tomorrow. So just to put that on the record. So that's is it Hetty Creek or is it? Or
It's Taylor's Creek.
Taylor Creek.
Taylor's Creek is an arm off the Hetty
No,
Creek.
I know, but that's my one
It's
question.
Taylor's Creek.
No, but it says Shinnecock Bay as well. Because it's
Well, it's got Waters Taylor Creek
Okay.
listed on there, so it's
okay.
Yep.
So that is tax 904-31-1-1 by order Taylor Creek County. Second.
Second on that.
seconded by trustee Warner. The fees will be waived for this application. Right?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I have trustee resolution 2025-163, application of KSB Real Estate at 650 LLC at 650 Dune Road, West Hampton, New York. Suffolk County Tax Map 900-391-1-22 on Regents Bay.
Second.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye. Joe.
Keep your
Trustee Resolution 2025-167. This is a resolution extending moratorium on issuance of first-time commercial shell fishing permits. We talked about this in exec session. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
I have trustee resolution 2025-168, waterfowl hunting location revocation of permits for the 2024-2025 hunting season. This is Stephen Bentz's permit number 22, failure to call for visual inspection by the deadline of December 31st, 2024. Resolved that the permits have been revoked due to permit holders' failure to comply with Article 5, Section 38 of the Rules and Regulations for the Management and Products of the Waters of the Town of Southampton. So can I get a second for this, please?
Second on
Seconded
that.
trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2025-169, waterfowl hunting location. Following waterfowl hunting locations were approved for the 2024/25 hunting season. Permit holders subsequently received various notices of violation. Alexander Fauci, R. Scott Prosser, Ethan S. Smith, their permit number 100, number 257, number 105. But resolved that upon showing of good cause from each of the above permittees, the Board of Trustees have decided not to revoke the waterfowl hunting location permits listed above and to allow the permit holders to renew for the 2025/26 hunting season. No similar relief will be granted to these permit holders in the future unless agreed upon by a majority plus one of the Board of Trustees.
I'll second that.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2025-170, authorize the Board of Trustees President to sign agreement with the United States of America allowing a right of entry onto Beaver Lake for the testing of sediments.
Second.
Seconded trustee McLaughlin? Yeah. All in favor?
Aye. This is 2025-171.
Yes.
This is a resolution authorizing the president to sign a letter of permission for the village of West Hampton Dunes to apply for a living shoreline wetland permit with the DEC. We discussed this in prior session.
Right, and right, we did, and,
Mr. President, hey, you heard on that?
yes, you may.
Thank you. Aram Tertunian, First Coastal, West Hampton Beach, New York. It's pretty impressive. I want to make this board aware that I have in preparation applications for two other similar projects to the one that is the subject of this resolution. One is at Yardarm Condominium in West Hampton Beach, and the other one is at 660 to 670 Dune Road in West Hampton Dunes. And if it's, I had an extensive meeting with the DEC this morning via WebEx, where we went over a bunch of the details of the project. I expect to be coming in front of this board as well to give you a briefing on it. But as a result of the project being on the trustee property, we are seeking the same letters for these two projects, and I would like to know what do you think is the best way to proceed? Can we incorporate that into this resolution? Do you want to do a separate resolution?
Well, I understand that you have a time constraint here,
Mm-hmm.
and you're at the 11th hour.
Yes, we are.
You are coming in with nothing before us, basically. We haven't had a work session meeting on the yardarm, as I recall.
Mhm.
You're looking for what, the permission to apply for a grant?
That's right.
Okay, and you're acknowledging that you have no guarantee that you'll get a permit from us.
That's correct.
Okay. You can, I would say to the board, the better practice wouldn't be to entertain it, but because of the time constraint, if you want to make an oral amendment to the resolution, you could entertain it.
I would entertain it based on the fact that I understand that there are time constraints relative to this grant approval. And I understand the frustration of many of the property owners throughout the township trying to deal with erosion on their properties. The trustees, as the president of the trustees, I'm sensitive to what we need to protect and defend for the freeholders and commonality. And I think there needs to be a balanced, measured, working collaboration between the landowners, the municipalities, the other regulatory authorities, and the trustees that are the landowners. So I certainly would entertain continuing to work on this project with this board and everybody else. So I don't have a problem amending this so that you could at least make an attempt at getting some funding to help with this. And obviously, you have to work through all regulatory authorities' permit terms and conditions. And I am pleased, actually, sitting as the president, to understand and know now that they are recognizing that they need to come to us early on in this proposal as the landowners. So I would suggest that we amend the resolution to sign a letter of permission for, West Hampton Dunes.
To increase to two other locations?
Yeah, so,
All right, so the proper procedure would be for Scott or somebody to make the motion. Give me the language that we have to insert, so he can make the motion.
Mhm.
A second, and then a vote to amend, and then a vote as amended would be the procedure.
All right, so it's for the Village of West Hampton Dunes to apply, and other.
Village West Hampton Dunes has two village improvement districts. One is organized under Section 175 of the Village Code, which is the one that's presently in front of you. The other one is under Section 175A of the Village Code.
Is that yours? Is that the one that
That's
you're
me.
talking?
All right, so which one is 175A for you?
That's 660 to 670 Dune Road,
The western ones.
Eastern. Yeah, the other ones are 676 to 696.
And they're westerns.
That's
Are
the
they
western.
part of the other district?
That's the other district.
And what's the yardarm?
Yardarm is called Yardarm Beach Condominium 2.
So we're gonna be spending a lot of time talking about these projects in the next short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then then
This
the,
just allows you to get your grant application in.
That's precise.
That's precisely why you're putting a pressure play on us to do it
Because
now.
June 6th is the grant deadline.
Yeah, yeah, we got a
Doesn't leave
busy
a
week
lot of
coming
time.
up.
Yeah.
Right.
all right, so then the resolution should read as amended, authorize to sign a letter granting the Incorporated Village of West Hampton Dunes Village Improvement District to apply for a tidal wetlands permit with the Environmental Conservation on Trustee on Bottom, as well as, their request was not for, did not mention any grant. This is basically adopting the letter that they submitted. So I'm
They
not.
submitted a letter for a permit, but
A
they asked.
suggested letter, the consultant.
Yeah, but I listened to the presentation and they were saying it was for the grant application.
Yeah,
That was
that's
the-
exactly what
That was the reason why there
Because
was.
I read the
Well, the
application
reason-
materials and that's what it
Well,
requires.
yeah, because the reason for the expeditious need for getting a letter signed by the president of this board was to allow everybody to keep working forward
Right.
because of the June 6th deadline.
Right.
But there's no, you still have to work on the permits with everybody, but everyone's like, look, we get it. So we're all trying to work together.
and my assumption analysis is that they needed to have a DEC permit application before in order to apply for the grant. Is that correct or incorrect?
That I don't recall. We submitted pre-application materials and we have a number. But that's all we have right now.
But I don't think they have a DEC. No one has any permits.
No, but I think they're in order to get the grant, my analysis was that they needed to have an active permit application filed with the DEC to get the grant funding. And this is the language of the letter that they said they needed for the grant application.
So this guy's got a lot of work to do between today and the 6th.
But the good news is it's 11:59 p.m. On Friday is the deadline, so I get all Friday night.
Well, no, I want to make sure we get it right. So,
Yeah.
as I said, the letter that I drafted for the board to sign with Scott's permission, the giving grant permission for Scott to sign rather, was the language that was suggested by that consulting group.
And I'll take that language.
All right, so then the amendment should read, okay, so village improvement, bottomlands, as well as an application for the 660 to 670 Dune Road, West Hampton Dunes, and the Yardarm Condominium 2 application, and leave it at that.
I think that's fine. And if they want anything further, this way we've inserted ourselves as owners.
And with your permission, we'll use the signature
Correct.
stamp once we get it, if
Once we
we're out of
pass
town.
this resolution, yes.
Joe, Yardarm Beach Condominium 2.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, good. Yeah, I got in trouble from the DEC because I didn't use the right name.
Well, at least there's consistency in that, right?
So how are we
We'll
gonna
both
do
get in trouble if I'm wrong and you're wrong, so.
There's consistency in that
Scott's gonna
too.
make a motion and somebody's got a second.
I make a motion that we amend the letter to include the other two properties.
Seconded by trustee McLaughlin, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So that's on the amendment, and then
The resolution
as amended.
As amended, yes.
Okay.
I'll second that.
I made the motion, Warner seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so I will sign, we will get you signed letters for everybody.
And I'll
And
get
then-
to work.
All right, and
If-
I'll be in the office tomorrow
there's-
morning. If we have to hammer out language,
Okay.
we'll figure it out.
Okay,
Right,
terrific.
at least there's an authorization to get it, and then we'll get working on these projects. And Joe's got
You might see me in July.
special counsel, that's fine. There's only one meeting in July, but we have wording that the board's gonna stick by, obviously relative to where the property boundaries are. We all know this, okay?
Yeah.
And I've had these conversations with the mayor of West Hampton Dunes as well. And Joe is aware and the board is aware. So we'll all work together on it, okay?
That sounds great. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you.
We good? Trust next one.
We are good to go to the next one. which
Trustee
is,
Resolution 2025-172. This is a resolution granting permission to the Peconic Land Trust, Cornell and Coastline Evaluation to place monitors in Sag Pond. We discussed this just earlier in work session. Can I have a second?
Second. Seconded, trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Aye.
I would like to make a motion to walk on a packet of, it looks like a half a dozen walk-ons.
I'll second that.
Seconded, trustee Warner?
Oh, you still have that?
No, we're gonna do that last. We're gonna take it out of order.
No, we're gonna do this
Yeah,
now.
so there's gonna have to be a motion to
Motion.
go out of order.
Okay, so
to go out
motion to
of
go out
order.
of order.
Second it.
Seconded by trustee Merritt, all in favor?
Aye.
We're out of order. All right, so now, motion to walk the packet of six on.
Second.
Seconded trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so let's go point by point here. First one, authorize the president to sign an agreement with the town of Southampton from the Community Preservation Fund, CPF, water quality monies for Sagaponic Pond aquatic habitat restoration.
I'll second that one.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number two, authorize the president to sign an agreement with the town of Southampton from Community Preservation Fund, water quality monies for Sag Pond Inlet Management aquatic habitat.
Second on that.
Seconded by trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The third one, authorize the president to sign an agreement with the Research Foundation of the State University of New York for Sag Pond Inlet aquatic restoration.
Second.
Seconded trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number four, authorize the president to sign a contract with Cornell University Cooperative Extension of Suffolk County for shellfish spawning and seeding for 2025.
Second on that.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Next one, application of KSB Real Estate, 650 LLC, 650 Dune Road. Whereas the Board of Trustees finds that the subject project is type 2 action. Resolved that the Board of Trustees, Town of Southampton, hereby authorize the President and Secretary of Treasury to sign a permit of KSB Real Estate, 650 LLC for the reconstruction of an in-place approximately 78 feet of existing bulkhead and increased top elevation of bulkhead 12 inches to construct a 7-foot return along the western property line, dredge 10 feet of bulkhead, 690 square feet to a depth of -3 mean high water, approximately 50 cubic yards. Place material landward of the bulkhead is backfill, establish a 10-foot buffer. Planted no treated wood to be used, open grate decking to be used for the dock located at 650 Dune Road, West Hampton.
Second on that.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'm curious, how is that different
Question,
from
we had a
the,
resolution for KSB
I know, what-
650.
What is this back on here for? Did we have to correct something here?
those were handed to me by Tatiana. It's from, those were already, she was working on, so this was when Jess was
What
here.
if this is just a correction?
Could be.
Well, because we just passed one for 650 Dune Road, and
163.
could the mistake, if Tatiana is involved in a contract, is there some sort of contract that we're going to be needing with KSB?
She would have
No.
dealt with that one.
Yeah, that's not a
Could the
typo.
wrong,
Okay,
could the wrong reso have
Did this
been
get sent
printed?
over to her by accident? Because I saw this, I looked at it, I'm like, okay, well,
That's not a Tatiana.
unless there's a Scrivener's error that got corrected.
Could the wrong resolution have been printed as
This
the
is,
wrong
you,
one?
you printed, you told me to print this.
Oh, did I send that to you?
So we
I sent you
we
the wrong
reaffirmed what
one.
we'd already affirmed?
Did we
I
get two permits now?
apologize.
We've already affirmed that,
I'm
so
like-
we walk that back.
Which one was that?
Yeah, that was
Which one?
2025.
Yeah, you're going to need to you're going to rescind.
I'm sorry. That's my
rescind and
fault, trying
repeal.
to
I
do
want to make a
walk-ons.
motion to rescind walk-on
Whoa,
number.
whoa. Wait, Lisa, what's the resolution number that you just crinkled up?
It is
We
Two.
call them, we
163.
call them receipt.
Hold on.
It should be, hold on.
163. Okay, we don't need to recall and amend anything. It was, it's,
Restatement?
we just voted,
I just
on it
printed out the
twice.
wrong.
It's a restatement,
I
that's
sent
what I
the
said.
wrong one to
But I
Jay.
looked at it, I said, was there, sometimes if there's an error that we got to correct somewhere. but
No, well,
It
that's,
should be, hold on 1 minute. Hold on.
Whose project is that?
650?
Which one?
That's,
Is that you, Parsons?
That's Matt.
You got us double working.
oh God.
Yeah, but we
Make
want
sure
to
no-
make
you
sure
guys
we
pay
get the right
attention.
one because there is a litany of stuff that was
Yeah,
coming
especially
from
when it's got a
Tatiana that we're
contract
trying
to be
nail
signed.
down.
Here's the next one here that's important.
Yeah.
What's
Let her
that they
let her
said?
nail down the past one.
Should have been. Which one? Okay.
Ron Barnish one.
Yeah, okay, so there should have been, the Board of Trustees require repair of the Lake Agawam Pier.
No, I got that here. That's,
You got that
yeah,
one?
well, that's
So
why I
it's
saw 5 and then it went to
Is this the one with
6.
the contract that you gave me to review, Lisa?
Yes,
All right,
okay,
so-
yeah, all right, hold on, I have it.
No, I don't think so.
I think so.
Which one?
That we got a contract from Tatiana for the
That's for Yacht Club Drive. That's
Right.
an old project that's been kicking
Oh,
off.
okay.
Yeah, that's an old project. This
Yeah,
is,
but that's what it was for you to sign that contract.
well, that contract, yeah.
It's the resolution authorizing your signature.
Sign
That's
it,
what we
yeah.
need.
So you need
I have
okay,
it.
so
Hold
number,
on
so number
one
5
sec.
should be an authorization for the president to sign a contract with Kitzner Construction for the purposes of
Yes.
constructing
Well,
Yacht
that's what
Club
it would
Drive.
be.
Okay, so that's what it should be. So I will make
And I
that,
have it here.
okay, so
Second, we
I
need
just made the
another vote.
motion,
Second.
seconded by trustee Parsons, all in favor? Okay,
Hey,
so
there you go.
there you go, all right. Now I have an
Do you have
author,
to walk back the other one or no?
No,
no, because it was just a double, we just
it's just
reaffirmed.
a
Parsons
reaffirmation.
got us working.
Just asking.
Double.
Authorization,
Just testing you guys out, you know?
I got another walk-on here. It's authorized South Shore docks to repair the pier at Lake Agawam. Where the pier at Lake Agawam is in bad shape, and $4,900 to have him do that. So I make a motion to, seconded trustee McLaughlin, all in favor? Okay, so I believe that concludes all the necessary walk-on resolutions for today.
It's gotta be a record.
Yeah, it's like a record.
All right, so
And then-
I have
You're up there,
I
Mr.
have the
Warner.
final resolution here. Trustee resolution 2025-174 for a warrant number 9, $14,546.23. The register reads as Town of Southampton, 146346. Automotive Retails Inc., $4,111.11. Call Ahead, $50. WB Masons, $53.82. Be Ready Fishbone Hatter, $650. PSE GL Long Island, $36.81. Ellen Financial Services, $5,551.04. Riverhead Building Supply, $33.54. Quark Sinclair Fuel, $57.46. Lopers Equipment Corp., $38.98. And a manual check to Jim Olivo for $2,500 for a total of $14,546.23. I recommend this approval. I need a second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that wraps up. Does anybody have anything else that they need to? I know we have to go back to executive. We didn't finish that, I don't think. We have a little bit more to go, right? Has anybody else got anything else that they need?
I just want to say, given the accident that happened on the water, we should all be aware that we all want boaters to be safe in this boating season. So
Yeah, that's a good point there, trustee McLaughlin. I mean, I know we've got the new law that's in effect where everybody has to take a boating course if they haven't already, or have their boating certificate or boating license or what have you. But common sense and courtesy on the waterway is very, very important. And slow down,
given the accident that happened last week,
There's been a couple of accidents lately. Even the simplest thing, docking. Don't come into the dock faster than you want to hit that dock. Make sure
Your hands and fingers inside
keep
the
your
boat.
hands and fingers inside the boat, and nighttime, slow down, and be courteous to one another out there on the waterway.
I do have a couple things.
You have a couple things?
Yes, I do. I did have a conversation with Bay Constable Donnie Downs. He asked if the Hampton-based Fire Department can use the Smiths Creek property that we have in order to do a dive rescue for the fire department at Hampton Bays. I said that I would ask the board, but I don't see any problem with it.
Absolutely.
So they have given us the proper insurance. They've asked before, and we'd allow that to happen. I also had a conversation with Constable Downs about how we could help out promoting safe boating and anything that we can do as far as writing letters to the East End Task Force as far as boat enforcement on boats and buoys and stuff like that. He seemed very receptive to it. I think it's something that they want to do in Sag Harbor. They do it in several other places throughout the town, but Sag Harbor, and he had conversations with Harbor Master Bob Borey, and some of the people from East Hampton, so I think they're interested in doing that. So if we need to give a letter of support or whatever we can do, I would like that we could do that.
Sure.
When I get more information, I will tell the board. Yep.
Okay,
For sure.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anything else? No? You're good? All right. That being said, I think what we'll do is make a motion to adjourn, go into finishing up the executive session.
I'll second.
Seconded, trustees Warner and Parsons, all in favor?
Aye.
Great day, everybody.